Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. Last night was Clayton Eckhart's season premiere of The Bachelor. With that came some drama that we have not seen before in the name of Salley Carson. This is Salley Carson, and she was set to get married. Her wedding was the weekend that The Bachelor was to begin filming. Of course, she decided to call off her wedding, but due to what? Now, she mentioned there were trust issues. Did her ex-fiance cheat on her? It was actually thought that her ex-fiance might have still technically been married to his previous wife. Maybe they didn't get the divorce finalized in time. No one really knows, but she has been tagged in photos with the ex this past November after the recording of this episode of The Bachelor. So we're going to get right into it. Do me a favor, follow me on Instagram at DNeals and subscribe on the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, hit the like button an odd number of times. All right, let's get right into it. So we've compiled several different sources. We know Reality Steve has covered this pretty much from the beginning, and we'll show what Bachelor data has unearthed. And of course, this is compiled by The Bachelorette. Bachelor contestant Sally's engagement timeline explained. A lot of questions regarding the Salley Carson drama pre-show last night. This is what Reality Steve wrote. Again, this was all covered at the time of filming, but for those that weren't following during that time, here's what happened. Salley Carson was engaged to Avery Buchholz. Their wedding date was Sunday, September 26th. Salley was on her bachelorette party in Mexico on the weekend of August 14th. The women's bios were released on Saturday, September 25th, and that's when I reported everything about the ex-fiance, and their wedding date was originally supposed to be the next day. When Salley was in quarantine for the season, her Facebook picture was still a pic of her and Avery together. Avery was even making cryptic comments on Twitter that day when it was all reported, basically inferring they weren't even broken up. Then 2 months later, Salley and Avery were together at a friend's 40th birthday party in Mexico. So here's the photo of them in Mexico together. It's not a great photo, but it's enough to show that that is them. What is this? Rainbow sarong type thing she's wearing there. All right, do you? And then that was posted November 25th, 2021. Let's see if we have any other information. Of course, this was Salley on her bachelorette party, which by all means, you're allowed to go on your bachelorette party, decide you don't want to be with your guy, and then quick turnaround to go on The Bachelor. By all means, if you're emotionally able to do that, go for it. Here's Avery Buchholz right there, neurosurgeon. So who really, we're going to do a lot of hypothesizing in this video. So if anyone wants to leave a voicemail, you absolutely can. We have a voicemail number 401-213-9828, and let me know if you have any information or any theories that we're not covering here today. So we'll go into what Bachelor Data has to say. She shows the visual, obviously Susanna at Bachelor Data does a great job of showing the visual timeline. Sally's bachelorette party, August 14th. And then we don't know what happens between then and September 20th, the 5 weeks. Salley flies to South Carolina for her hair appointment. Let me tell you something, ladies. If you're flying for your hair appointment, maybe you're maybe you're doing too much. I don't know, maybe, who knows, maybe you have a good extensions person and she moves and you got to fly. I don't know. I just think if you need a passport to get you to your hair appointment, you're doing too much. Just my thoughts on that. I bet I could be wrong. What do I know? This hair just comes naturally. Hey, folks, how are you? A little castor oil and hope. So Bachelor begins filming September 26th, Sally's wedding date that weekend. And then 2 months later, she's seen in Mexico with her ex-fiance. Now, we've reported, like I said, 5 different stories on this, where Avery Buchholz responded on Twitter saying, we're back together. She wasn't broken up. So what was it? My theory here is that Salley found out either Avery was cheating on her or had cheated, or he couldn't properly get married because she went to go fill out the wedding license and found out he was still engaged, or still married to his ex. Something of that nature went down. There was some sort of infidelity, whether it was cheating or a version of that. I don't know what it could be, but it was enough. And again, this is just my theory, right? It was enough that all of her friends were like, you know what? You don't need him. And they signed her up to be on the show, and she was fast-tracked to be on the show. And I think the brain can work in multiple ways. I think you can have a part of your brain that goes, you know what? You're right. I shouldn't have a relationship with this guy. He's bad news, X, Y, and Z. And then she decides, all right, I'll go on The Bachelor. I'll get over him. And then you go to get your hair done and do all the things you need to do to make that happen. And then the other part, the heart wants what the heart wants. Feels like, oh my gosh, this isn't quite over. Maybe he makes a plea, sends roses, describes the situation. This is why I didn't tell you about this. This is what really happened with that. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows, right? But you could, then Salley gets there, does her quarantining, And what happens when you quarantine? You're ruminating, you're stuck in a hotel room, you're kind of bored, you don't have much to talk about, and all of a sudden you're like, maybe my relationship wasn't that bad. You don't even know who Clayton is, and then you meet him, and then you're like, I'm, engaged to a neurosurgeon. We have a nice life. Sure, he cheated, or sure, something happened, but we can fix that. We know that's a constant. So I thought she had a good connection with Clayton. But obviously this has never happened before, where we had Clayton or any Bachelor introduce or be introduced to a contestant before the limo. I mean, this pulled back the fourth wall. The show's done a lot this past year to pull back the fourth wall, meaning they show us Brendan Moraes and Piper James on a hot mic, right, talking about getting Instagram followers. They show us some behind the scenes of this. I mean, they weren't ready for this conversation to happen. They were in a tiny little room. Clayton's like, hey, how are you? She's like, yeah, I'm going to be on your show, but not quite. He obviously gets the rose out for whatever reason. They just had a rose ready. They just ripped it out of the bushes. So Bachelor data said Salley Carson was set to be married the weekend filming begins. Since this was a big plot line last night, we pulled the dates from Instagram and various media outlets to get you a timeline of Sally's relationship with her ex-fiance and filming. While we don't have the official casting timeline, it's safe to say casting started before August. And then some comments. Looks like her friends may have cleaned up their posts since you posted this. Her page is near barren. A short timeline that just doesn't make sense. Once again, thank you for your service, of course.
When I first heard the Salley girl was going to be on the show.
Now, here's what Blake has to say about it.
And she left early or whatever, or left out, in weird circumstances because she was engaged. I, in my head, thought this is going to come off horrible for her. I was like, she's going to look terrible. Like, why even sign up if you just got broken up? But I was wrong. I thought her conversation she had with Clayton was very genuine, very honest. She was clearly, I don't think that was an act. I think she genuinely was hurting. When I first heard...
All right, so I agree. I think her conversation was genuine, and I don't think there was another motivation, even though the receipts and everything doesn't really add up. I think she was trying to get over the guy and realized she wasn't. I mean... who out of all of us haven't been in that situation where you're like, I don't need that guy. You talk a bunch of trash to him. The next thing you know, Thanksgiving, you bring that same person to your family's dinner, and you're like, yeah, still with old, whatever over here. Who is Salley Carson? So here's what we need to know. Let's try to sift through this to get information that we don't already have. The 26-year-old Southern Belle toasted to her wedding in Mexico in August 2021. So we saw the photos of that. She's real life, the Meredith Grey looking for her McDreamy, her bio reads. She keeps a tight circle of friends that she likes to have dinner and drinks with, but is a career-focused girl who is usually in bed by 11. Salley is described as religious, family-oriented, and adventurous when it comes to what she wants in a future partner. She identified a man who is loyal, fun, and also my ex, something like that. Unlike many of the women who are vying for Clayton's attention this season, Salley has not promoted the show on her Instagram. In fact, hours before the season premiere, she was posting photos poolside in the Bahamas. Salley shared snaps from the Baja Mar Hotel on Monday, including a pic with Charli D'Amelio. Oh, she's friends with Charli D'Amelio, the queen of TikTok? That's actually a pretty big deal. Scroll down to learn more about Salley and her ex-fiance. All right, University of South Carolina, Columbia. All right, there she is. She's a Southern Belle. Okay, we got that. What else do we know? She and her ex both have medical professions. She's listed as previously engaged, but she actually works as a spine surgery robot operator. Well, that's a job I didn't know existed. Her ex-fiance, for his part, is the assistant professor of neurosurgery at University of Virginia Health System after earning a doctorate of medicine and master's in public health from the University of Wisconsin. That sounds professional. Her wedding date was September, and as we saw here, she still has the registry up. So there's still a registry up, but again, this is information we already had. I think people are just trying to make this into some sort of premeditated thing. But if she was trying to get fame or clout or anything from this, she wouldn't have canceled as quickly as she did. I truly believe she went into quarantine for several days. And on the show, they did make it out to believe this conversation between Salley and Salley and Clayton. They made it out that the conversation happened before the limo, but it was actually several days before, according to reality, Steve. Not that it really matters. But she sat down, she got there, and she goes, oh, man. And maybe her ex is making last-ditch phone calls. She's about to put her phone away. He's got those cloud, things in the sky. Take me back, Salley. You know what I mean? And then here we go. Let's read a couple of your comments. We'll get out of here. Again, don't feel free to call if you want, 401-213-9828. Listen, Salley said this hair ain't going to waste primetime ABC. She flew across states for those extensions. You better give them their close-up. That makes sense. This whole storyline with her is so sketchy. Sips tea. When Clayton practically gushed over her and said, "You're so genuine," about 5 times, I had an inkling something like this was going to come up. Obviously, I knew all about this, and obviously she wasn't there for the right reason. So yeah, it was frustrating for me to watch the show give her a hero edit. I don't think the November photo proves anything. The caption says something along the lines of, "I guess I should probably post these photos by the OP," meaning they could have been taken at any time. Regardless, everything before that is sketchy. Bachelor Data pointed out that there is another post by the person celebrating their birthday confirming their birthday is indeed in November, so the post could have been made a few days, weeks later than the trip to Mexico, but that should have still happened sometime in November. So again, I feel like she realized it would come out in her edit and wanted to control the narrative to appear heartbroken before it would come out. They only canceled the wedding like a week before. Hard to say, folks. Hard to say. It's a sloppy situation. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little too tired to read into all the conspiracies. But I think this is somebody that on one hand wanted to get over her ex, go on The Bachelor last minute, fast track it, and then on the other hand realized she was in too deep. Let me know what you guys think. I know that's kind of a boring summation of what I feel. I'd love to hear your conspiracy theories regarding the matter. Be respectful. Talk to you in the comments. Bye, guys.